There are three types of families in Australia that you can fall into that can determine how wealthy you are in the future. And this is based on 15 years of experience as a mortgage broker, looking at thousands of clients' financials. Before I go into the three categories and I'll draw like a table with three columns, the basic premise that you need to accept is how big your family is, all right? So the bigger your family is, the chance is higher for you to be more wealthy currently and also in your future. Jumping into my drawing board here, we've got three categories as I just explained to you. So the first category, just to set things off and to set the idea of the second and third category, is the first gen migrants. Just to give you an example, I'm a first gen migrant. So my parents, due to the Vietnam War, moved us to Australia through a refugee visa. So even though I speak really great English, I was practically raised here, but I came here when I was 2. So I'm a first gen migrant. Basically, my kids, which were born here, will be second gen, okay? And this will also include those that were TR before and now are transferring to a PR, permanent residence. And this is basically for people who had, family in another country, but only your family came to Australia. It's just you. If you fall into this category of family, you either, like myself, work your freaking ass off, run your own business. For the last 15 years, I started from scratch. There was no cash injection. There was nothing from parents. My parents, their belief was if you receive Centrelink youth allowance, that's their money. So for the last, from high school to uni, all my Centrelink money went to them. Basically, my parents were in like survival mode, right? They left the Vietnam War under this survival mentality to escape, came to Australia, didn't turn off that survival mode. Basically, everything that the government gave, they took, right? So that passed on to me, this generational chain mentality of survival mode. I'm in survival mode every single day. Even though I built a lucrative business through mortgage brokering, earning great money, have multiple properties, I'm still in survival mode because that's the way I was brought up. For this category of family, or you fall into this type of family, either your parents are here or you are the parents that brought your kids over here, you either hustle and grind to build your wealth, or otherwise you're just not going to be wealthy. All right. In contrast to this category, you either fall into the second category if you're in Australia. And I call this the OGs of Captain Cook. OG stands for the original gangster. So if you and your family line follow from the OG of Captain Cook, and you are, for example, not first generation, you're probably 7th, 6th, or even 10th generation over here in Australia. Your great-grandpop that knew the OG Captain Cook, who basically got land for $0, obviously we knew what happened, got passed down like this layer of tiramisu cake, right? Assets. And what I found from speaking to these type of clients, life is pretty relaxing to them, right? Their parents passed on their business to them, assets were passed on to them. They're chilling at the moment. They don't work as hard as I do. I work crazy hours, doing content creation, running a business, also have another side business. Like I'm always constantly thinking how I'm gonna make money, but these guys are chill. There's like so much assets just passed on to them, and also their kids, they'll pass on their tiramisu layer of assets to them. If you fall into this category, I can 100% guarantee you're not Asian, you're not ethnic, you are Caucasian. Because obviously for me, I can't say I was related to OG Captain Cook, if you know what I mean. If you fall into this category, basically, the chances of being wealthy is really, really easy. There's cash gifts given to you. You want to buy this property, that's okay. You want to go for that job, that dream job that doesn't earn a lot of income, that's okay. Because we have a tiramisu layer of generational wealth ready to be passed on to you. The third category of families that you may fall into is, I would say, minimum third generation ethnic multipliers. This is like, your great grandpops came here and then had their kids, and then their kids had their kids, and their kids had their kids. And then like the cluster of the family is like more than 30 to maybe 40 people or even more. These type of clients I see is basically, the Wogs, the Greeks, the Lebos, but they're like third, fourth generation, okay? They don't speak the language before now. They speak pure English. They were born in like Auburn Hospital or something like that. These guys have businesses, back in 1960s built up, passed on, from family to family, right? If you were to attend their wedding, it's like 100, 200 people will come. If you were born in this family, if you want to run a business, cousin here, uncle here, auntie here will cash inject that money into you so that you could make it. If you want to run a store, here's 200 G's from the family. And the most important thing with this category of family is that nepotism does not exist in their vocabulary, okay? They will only hire family, okay? Blood is thicker than money. I can see from the 4th to 5th generation clients that I see, basically they're living in big ass mansions. They don't own the mansion, they live with their parents or whatever, but the house is paid off. And then their parents would give them money to buy investment properties. No issues. The most obvious sign of these two families, out of these 3 categories of families that you fall into, these are the 2 categories of family with the highest chance of building wealth. If you fall into the OG Captain Cook team, after 10th or the 15th generation line and you fall into this category, your chance of building wealth is like unlimited. What comes second is the 3rd to 4th generation ethnic multiplier, right? Big family, right? Uncles, aunties, I know a family, like Asian family, Chill Chow family. They bought around the South Sydney, all the Kodak stores. Every bloody family worked in it. They made millions. And before Kodak became Jurassic Park due to the digital era, this family sold all the stores and then went into the cafe business and development business. And they're making millions of money every single year. The whole family working together, pulling their resources together. But I would tell you guys, the most hungry for wealth will be this. Lack of resources, but these guys are so resourceful. With limited amount of stuff, as you can see from me, are opportunists, right? I will take every opportunity to make the hustle. Whilst for these guys, I can say to you, they're a bit lazy, very lazy, because everything's passed down, but then they have everything set up. They're like a bloody corporation. Pops was the old director. He sold his shares to his son, which was your father, and then your father will pass the shares to you, and all you need to do is just to rock up and follow the manual and run the business. That's it. But in terms of hunger, you can never beat the first gen migrants. But then after a while, when we become, layers of tiramisu of our generations, we also will become lazy. Well, obviously our kids, not us. So if you watched thus far, jump in the comments, tell me which category of family do you fall into, and do you think my opinion is correct?